Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. David Dalsey, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this happy occasion and to introduce the principals, and they are Ms. Sloan Victor, daughter of President Michael T. Victor. Ms. Courtney Victor Russ, daughter of President Michael T. Victor. Mr. Frank B. Victor, alumni and former member of the Board of Trustees. Ms. Shannon Hawley, President of the Mercyhurst Student Government. Mr. Randall Rinke, of the Executive Committee of the Faculty Senate, Northeast. Dr. Joanne McGurk, President of the Faculty Senate, Erie. Mr. R. Scott Evans, Vice President for Philanthropy and External Relations, Lake Erie College. Sister Joanne Corneen, President of the New York, Pennsylvania, and Pacific West Community of the Sisters of Mercy. Sister Mary Pat Garvin, Institute Leadership Team, Institute of the Sisters of Mercy of the Americas. The Most Reverend Lawrence T. Persico, Bishop of the Diocese of Erie. Sister Patricia Whalen, Project Coordinator, Office of the Registrar of Mercyhurst University. Mr. Richard A. Lanzillo, Esquire, Chair of the Board of Trustees. And the 12th President of Mercyhurst University, President Michael T. Victor. Please remain standing for the national anthem, and gentlemen, please remove your hats.
Oh, say can you see On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Mercyhurst University, please be seated. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Mercyhurst University, I welcome you to the installation of our 12th president, Michael T. Victor. Mercyhurst University, founded by the Sisters of Mercy 90 years ago, is proud and pleased to welcome you to this extraordinary moment. We wish you to join with us today as we pause to inscribe this day's events in our enduring history. The inscription, in one sense, is quite literal. Part of the insignia to be conferred on our 12th president includes a chain of office whose links are engraved with the names and terms of the previous presidents. Beyond that, the inscribing of today's events is also symbolic, for there is great inspiration to be drawn from the theme Michael Victor has chosen for the inauguration of his presidency: renewal through mercy, the next 90 years. It is fitting then that I now call upon Sister Joanne Corneen, President of the New York, Pennsylvania, and Pacific West community of the Sisters of Mercy, to give the invocation. Sister Joanne.
Good afternoon. As is our custom at the beginning of any event, we begin today's inauguration by asking God's blessing on Dr. Victor, this university, the entire Mercyhurst community, and all of us gathered here today. So let us pray. God of all goodness, who bestows on each of us the blessings of freedom and faith, we praise you for the wonders of creation and for the good you grant to us each day. We give thanks today for the blessings of the past 90 years of Mercyhurst University, blessed by faithful leaders, talented students, and dedicated faculty and staff. And we ask your blessing on the present time, where the blend of the Sisters of Mercy spirit and academic life thrive, where faith and reason prevail, and mercy in action is a way of life. We gather with a deep sense of gratitude for this special moment in our history as we celebrate the inauguration of Dr. Michael Victor as the 12th president of Mercyhurst University. Loving God, nourish his spirit and nurture his vision as he seeks to steward the mission grounded in the principles of Catholic higher education and committed to the service of women and men of the university. May he find in the Mercyhurst community support and cooperation, in the Board of Trustees wise counsel, and in the students inspiration for the directions of the path chosen. Bless us all as we journey forward in faith, hope, and love, confident of your presence in each of us and in this institution. We pray this in the name of you who created us, the Son who redeemed us, and the Spirit who sanctifies us. And we say, Amen.
It is customary as a new president takes office for those who know him to offer words of wisdom and good wishes for understanding and success. Today, Michael Victor's two daughters, Courtney Victor Russ and Sloan Victor, come forward to share their wishes as he faces the challenges and triumphs of the office of the presidency. They will be followed by Mr. R. Scott Evans, who worked with Michael Victor when he was president of Lake Erie College.
Hello. Good morning, friends. family, faculty, and staff, we are so honored to be speaking here on this momentous occasion. We wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a man who has been one of the most influential people in our lives. A man of strength, compassion, and integrity with an unparalleled work ethic that can't be shuttered. A family man who would do anything for his 2 daughters. A man who is humble enough to recognize his weaknesses, finding those strengths in his brother, and knowing that as a team, they'd find the perfect balance for success. A born leader, he's a man whose passions reach many, bringing joy to those he touches. Yes, this man has shaped our lives, and we owe so much of who we are, who we hope to become, to him. We are, of course, talking about Walt Disney.
But seriously, we're here today to celebrate the inauguration of Mercyhurst's 12th president. And while anyone who knows us is well aware of our love for Walt Disney, he will always pale in comparison to the #1 man in our lives, our father and your president, Michael Victor. When we were first asked to talk, we were grappling with how exactly to approach it. But then as we were watching the PBS documentary on Walt Disney, it hit us. Suddenly, we understood why we have always felt such a connection to Uncle Walt. Why a man we have never met, who died decades before we were even born, has made such an impact on our lives. After 27 years, it became as clear as Cinderella's slipper. He's just like Dad. From their ambition, drive, and business practices, to their morals, generosity, and family life, Walt Disney and Michael Victor are one and the same. The only difference being between a mouse and a Laker. It is so rare to find an individual who holds such a vast array of admirable qualities. It is those characteristics that separate the followers from the leaders, and those are the ones that make the greatest impact on the world. Like the late, great Walt Disney, Michael Victor has those qualities. With a man like this at the helm, there is nothing that can't be accomplished, no problem that can't be fixed, no dream too large. Because as Walt would say, if you can dream it, you can do it. And Michael Victor is here to do it.
Any great story begins with a peak of curiosity. Without it, they wouldn't get much farther than once upon a time. Well, the same applies to life. Nothing in life can be achieved without that initial spark. Walt Disney stated, simply and boldly, ideas come from curiosity. And an unwavering sense of curiosity has proven to be a Victor family trait passed on through generations.
Growing up, Michael preferred to spend his time learning everything he could about, well, everything. He read any book he could get his hands on, from fanciful classics to historical nonfictions. No page was left unturned. If he didn't know a word, he'd look it up. When he had a question about something, he found the answer. And with a photographic memory, he can recall it all.
His inquisitive nature begun his passion for history, learning the patterns of both its triumphs and failures, and determining what to emulate or avoid. His study of the past would lead him to the success of his future. Walt believed that a person should set his goals as early as he can and devote all of his energy and talent to getting there. And through Michael's fervent curiosity, he was able to set those goals, discovering who he wanted to be and what he wanted to do at a very young age, which would ultimately evolve into ambition.
Ambition can be described as one's earnest desire for some kind of achievement or distinction, and a willingness to strive for its attainment. Setting goals is where ambition begins, but drive and commitment are what make it whole. When asked if he knew the secret to success, and if he could tell others how to make their dreams come true, Walt Disney answered, yes, you do it by working. In a recent interview, Michael was asked the same question, and just like Walt, he answered, with good, old-fashioned hard work and determination.
This courage, drive, and confidence in oneself is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. And not a day has gone by where my father has faltered from those convictions. Not once has he allowed something to stop him from accomplishing his goals. Not bullies, not critics, not even cancer would ever keep Michael from achieving his dreams. Walt once said, the difference in winning and losing is most often not quitting. Just as we were told time and time again throughout our lives, quitters never win and winners never quit. Michael Victor is no quitter. Michael Victor is a winner.
This is something our father passed on to us. From the time we picked up our first tennis racket, Michael made sure that we always followed through. He taught us that when you make a commitment, you stick with it until the end. Quitting was never an option, no matter how much we wanted to. And trust me, there were times, like soccer. While curiosity may be a Victor family trait, foot-eye coordination certainly is not.
Even when we were terrible, Michael was still there to cheer us on. He never missed a game, a carpool, or a tailgate. I can remember one of my grade school soccer games, which I wasn't happy about having to go to myself. It was a particularly cold fall day, which was only made worse by the freezing rain that started. But knowing that I was feeling down about my not-so-stellar soccer skills, Michael moved a meeting just so that he could be there. Even though he had to come straight from work in nothing but his suit and loafers, he still stood on the sideline, soaking wet, with his teeth chattering, just so I knew that I had someone standing in my corner. There is nothing my father won't do to see his children smile and remind us that no matter the weather, Daddy will always be there.
Our father always told us we can be anything that we want to be, do anything that we want to do, and whatever we choose, he'd be there to support us in every way he could. Walt Disney has been credited with saying, "Whatever you do, do it well," which is eerily similar to something my father once told me as a young child. Whatever you are, be the best at it. Even if you're a garbage man, be the best garbage man there ever was. Everything I've done in my life, I've gone into with that credo, and I think it's safe to say that my father does the same, particularly with his role as dad. But not only is he the best father there ever was, he's gone above and beyond, also taking on the role of greatest best friend, advisor, teacher, and even mother that there ever was.
Anyone who knows the Victors knows that we're a very tight-knit family. And being that it was just the three of us for many years, no one is tighter than my sister, my dad, and me. Just ask Colin or John. Marrying one of the Victor girls means you're marrying Michael too. Many of you may not know this, but Michael was a single father to two girls for most of our childhood. He took on the role of both parents, and he took it on like a champ. He could sing along with the Spice Girls, name all 5 Backstreet Boys, knew all the latest fashion trends, and could easily quote movies like Clueless or Legally Blonde. And while the girly stuff is much appreciated, his guidance, direction, and sheer unconditional love are the real testaments, not only to who he is as a father, but who he is as a person.
Like Michael, everything Walt Disney did, he did for his family. And also like Michael, his 2 daughters were his greatest joy. Disney was a firm believer that a man should never neglect his family for business, a sentiment that Michael also shares. He's one of the few people who truly knows how to balance work and family. Every night we had family dinner. Even when I was little and Pyramid was a young, struggling company, he made sure that he was home for dinner, returning back to work after he put us to bed. At dinner, he'd ask us questions about our day, genuinely interested in what we had to say, regardless of how trivial it was. And he'd keep us up to date on what was going on in his life, at work, or with his friends. We were always honest about what was going on both sides. And I think that open line of communication between child and parent is what made us aware of the hardships of the world and how to handle them appropriately.
Even when hosting dinner parties, there was never a kids' table. We sat alongside the adults, listening to them talk about everything from work to politics, religion, and even, dare I say it, gossip. The same could be said of the Disney household. As Walt was very open about his belief in not playing down to children, stating, "I don't treat my youngsters like fragile flowers, and I think no parent should." Our father did everything he could to ensure that his daughters would always be able to hold their own, that intimidation was never a factor, that we were strong, opinionated, and never afraid to speak our minds, regardless of who was sitting across from us on the table.
But listening to the adult chatter could only get us so far. Michael wanted our contributions to be those of substance and merit, based on a well-rounded understanding of the subject. And while our schooling provided a strong base, our father never disregarded the importance of exposing us to the tremendous multiplicity of things that the world has to offer.
He kept us up to date on current events, took us to a variety of museums and exhibits, pushed us to read all the great classics, encouraged us to try new activities, or making us memorize Emily Post's handbook. He even made up his own quizzes, but nothing can teach you the ways of the world quite like traveling. We are fortunate to have grown up with a father who saw the value in it and began our lives as world travelers at a very young age. Just being able to visit the different regions of the world is amazing in itself, but doing it with Michael Victor is truly inimitable.
I'll never forget our first visit to Rome. Ancient Roman history has always been one of my dad's favorites, and exploring the city with him was like having our very own tour guide or historian. His rendering of each Roman icon's history resounded with vivacity and delight. It was utterly contagious. I'd follow him around, hanging on his every word. I can remember thinking, wow, my dad is so cool. I made it a life goal to one day be able to take him around somewhere, sharing my knowledge of its history, just as my father had so many times before. And I am proud to say that in 2 weeks, I will achieve that goal, as we head back for the first time in 15 years to the place that started it all, Walt Disney World. He may know more than I do about pretty much everything else, but I am confident that this time I will be the expert, because no one's brain is more jam-packed with Disney knowledge than mine, not even Michael's.
Hanging on to Michael's every word doesn't just happen with his kids. It happens almost every time that he speaks. There's just something about his delivery that makes people listen. And I'm not just referring to the public events or speaking engagements, because we all know that he can deliver one impressive speech. It is no different when sitting with him at home. When my dad starts talking, everyone around him instinctively wants to hear what he has to say.
Growing up, we'd invite friends over, and they always loved hanging out with our dad. With such geniality and compassion, all of our closest friends see him as a second father, some of whom actually feel more comfortable going to Michael than they do their own parents, or turn to him after losing one. For example, Alora, one of my best friends, who lost her father when we were 17, and asked Michael if one day he would walk her down the aisle. Because of these relationships, his ability to relate to young people has simply become second nature. And this ability is what makes him a university president unlike any other.
Just like at Lake Erie College, my father has continued his open door policy. Open to the faculty, open to the staff, and most importantly, open to the students. Walt Disney said, in order to make good in your chosen task, it's important to have someone you want to do it for. The greatest moments in life are not concerned with selfish achievements, but rather with things we do for the people we love and esteem, and those we respect and whose respect we need.
Everything Michael does as a president, he does for the students. He may run the school like a business, but he will never see the students as clients or simply a number to take back to the board. They are his family. So many of them have gone out of their way over the years to let me know how much they love my dad. They tell me stories how he personally touched their lives, saying things like how he offered up his office as a quiet place to study during exam week, or helping a grieving student athlete plan every last detail of his father's funeral.
Michael never fails to notice the little guy, never hesitating to offer up help and cut them a break, because who understands the little guy better than a nerdy kid from a small town of America? My father always remembers where he came from and the values he learned while he was there, never taking his success for granted and never forgetting those who helped him along the way. Walt Disney also believed that it was shallow and arrogant for any man to claim he is completely self-made, that he owes all of his success to his own unaided efforts. Many hands and hearts and minds generally contribute to anyone's notable achievements. And like Walt, to his employees, Michael is not just a leader, he is their servant, defender, and that's what separates leaders from bosses.
As a leader in any role, my father has never let anyone down, and he's not about to start now. He is not going to restore Mercyhurst to its former glory. He is going to far surpass it. The last year and a half has merely been a glimpse of all the greatness that is to come. Every classic Disney film ends with the sound of ringing bells, signifying the beginning of happily ever after. Now, thanks to Michael, Mercyhurst can also hear the bells ring, which can only mean it's the start of your happily ever after. Thank you.
Good afternoon. What an honor it is to be with all of you today as the Mercyhurst University community celebrates a new era under a new leader. Congratulations are in order as I've been reading about record enrollment, record fundraising, new and renovated facilities, perfect landscaping, of course, and even a great big fun Adirondack chair right in the middle of this campus. Well done and congratulations to all of you. Signatures of brands tend to be an important part of our lives. It may be the feel, fit, and fabric of our favorite clothes, the profile and paint color of our favorite cars, the appearance and aroma of a fine wine, or the taste, texture, and temperature of our favorite food. A signature of a brand may be something even much more specific, such as the distinct roar of a P-51 fighter plane, Mustang fighter plane, that some still call the sound of victory. The recent sound of victory at Mercyhurst University may be attributed to a new president named Michael T. Victor and every single one of you that have worked so hard in the last year. I know the signature of his particular brand of leadership and vision well. 10.5 years ago, a former boss called me when I was employed at a medical school in Ohio. She said, "I want you to meet somebody. I think you'll like him and may even want to work with him someday." I agreed, and in the spring of 2006, I met Michael Victor, the newly appointed president of Lake Erie College in Painesville, Ohio. President Victor told me about the exciting history and struggles of Lake Erie at the time. He shared his plan to fix it, asked me many questions about my work and about my family. And within 45 minutes, we were finished and very much on the same page on many things. He was intense, direct, smart, and passionate about being president. And still is, by the way. I told my wife that night that there was a good chance I'd be changing jobs soon. I was hired shortly thereafter, and our journey began in the summer of 2006. The next several years were an absolute rocket ship ride to the moon, especially the first two. Due to a number of strategies, including adding a football team and other sports, new majors, and a massive marketing campaign, the enrollment doubled, the budget doubled. The workforce doubled. The former all-women's college was now gender balanced. We moved from Division III to Division II in athletics. $40 million was raised. New facilities were going up or being renovated. The local and national media took notice and covered us. Our profile was rising. We were attracting even stronger students. A new physician program was launched. All the dandelions were gone. The grass was green. And the gem of Lake Erie College was polished and shining bright. Does this sound familiar to some of you? An entrepreneur is often described as someone who will jump off the cliff and build the airplane on the way down. Michael Victor, entrepreneur, businessman, educator, former dean, and now president, had done his homework and his job. But he had it all planned out long before he jumped, with few exceptions. It truly was one of the most remarkable endeavors that I've ever been a part of in my career. What I say next may shock you. Here goes. Presidents are people too. I know it to be true. Presidents are indeed like the rest of us. They have families, friends, values, challenges, fears, flaws, and dreams. Michael Victor is no different. I know family is number one with him. First Lady Craig Pepper Victor, Courtney and Colin, Sloan and John, stepsons Wade and Bowman, two beautiful granddaughters, Reagan and Sawyer, brother Frank, sisters Marcia, Peggy, and Carol, and the rest of the Victor clan. There wasn't a day that we didn't talk about you, and he always has you in mind. Michael's late father said that Michael should have lived in the 19th century, referring to some of his old school values in business and etiquette. His late mother, Betty, told me he is absolutely loyal to his friends, and I knew that right away. Many of you here today are his oldest and dearest friends. Being president requires the individual to play many roles throughout the day, ranging from listener, motivator, connector, problem solver, fixer, healer, seller, persuader, etc. Surely there are some fun and exciting times that come with the job. There are also some dark days, sad days, and tough decisions that come about when a president alone must find the way. I saw Michael Victor, the person, find those paths for all of us many times. His core has always been strong, but I know that being a president for more than 10 years now has made him an even better leader and stronger person today. If you are a resident or a business owner in Erie, Pennsylvania, you win. Michael Victor will do his job to make sure that Mercyhurst University is a dynamic economic engine and Erie is a destination for others. If you are a member of the Mercyhurst alumni, you win. Michael Victor will work to increase the value of your earned degree in the marketplace by increasing the profile and awareness of this fine institution. He will make you proud and you want to stay connected, be engaged, and give generously. If you are parents of a Mercyhurst student, you win. Michael Victor will do his best to provide your sons and daughters with the tools that they need to succeed, keep them safe, and make you feel good about their choice to attend Mercyhurst. If you're a member of the Board of Trustees of Mercyhurst University, you win. Michael Victor will do his job in managing the institution and make your job of governing a positive and meaningful experience through the thick and the thin. If you're a member of the Mercyhurst faculty and staff, you win as well. Michael Victor will certainly challenge you, but he will support you. He values your input and contributions and wants you to win. Work with him, he will work with you. There is only one way forward, and that is together. Last, if you are a Mercyhurst student, and I see, will the students raise their hands in here? How many students are? Look at all the students that are here today. You win the most. You are the very reason that Michael Victor gets up in the morning, puts on his Michael Victor suit and his Vineyard Vines tie, and comes to work. Being president of a university is his calling in life. Michael Victor will provide an excellent learning environment that is focused on you. He will help when and where he can while you are a student and even after graduation. I've seen him do it every day for all the years that we worked together. You see, Michael Victor's personal mission statement is to change the world one student at a time. That is the true signature of his brand. God bless you, Michael, you and your family. Thank you for enriching my life through our work together, and most importantly, through our friendship. Good luck, Mr. President, and best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
A reading from Scripture, Psalm 19, for the leader, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament proclaims the works of his hands. Day unto day pours forth speech. Night unto night whispers knowledge. There is no speech, no words. Their voice is not heard. A report goes forth through all the earth, their messages to the ends of the world. He has pitched in them a tent for the sun. It comes forth like a bridegroom from his canopy, and like a hero joyfully runs its course. From one end of the heavens it comes forth. Its course runs through to the other. Nothing escapes its heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, refreshing the soul. The decree of the Lord is trustworthy, giving wisdom to the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The command of the Lord is clear, enlightening the eye. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The statutes of the Lord are true, all of them just, more desirable than gold, than a hoard of purest gold, sweeter also than honey or drippings from the comb. By them your servant is warned. Obeying them brings much reward. Who can detect trespasses? Cleanse me from my inadvertent sins. Also from arrogant ones, restrain your servant. Let them never control me. Then shall I be blameless, innocent of grave sin. Let the words of my mouth be acceptable, the thoughts of my heart before you, Lord, my rock and my redeemer.
As president of a university founded by the Sisters of Mercy, Michael Victor has a special calling to uphold the Mercy mission, to become a steward for its continued growth in the lives of those who come through our gates. At this time, I call on Sister Mary Pat Garvin of the Institute Leadership Team of the Institute of the Sisters of Mercy of the Americas, who will offer words of welcome and a gift to the President. Sister Mary Pat?
President Victor, members of the Mercyhurst University community, honored guests, and Sisters of Mercy. With Sister Joanne Corneen, president of the New York, Pennsylvania, and Pacific West community of the Sisters of Mercy, I am pleased to offer a very warm greeting on behalf of the Institute of the Sisters of Mercy of the Americas. Today is a special day for Mercyhurst University. As we mark this significant transition, we welcome President Victor as the 12th president of this very special institution to the Conference for Mercy Higher Education and to the extended family of the Sisters of Mercy. All of us throughout the Institute of the Sisters of Mercy rejoice in the inauguration of President Victor as the new president of Mercyhurst University. In the constitutions of the Sisters of Mercy, we write, "As Sisters of Mercy, we sponsor institutions to address our enduring concerns and to witness to Christ's mission. These enduring concerns are at the heart of Mercyhurst University's mission and are stated clearly in your core values. The values of being socially merciful, globally responsible, compassionately hospitable, intellectually creative, and reflectively aware. May these values continue to ground all the activities, decisions, and behaviors at Mercyhurst University. Your tenure, President Victor, will certainly be marked by many challenges, but I suggest that the most difficult and yet the most rewarding ones will be to become the mission leader of this community of learners, a mission leader who preserves and enhances the enduring concerns of the Sisters of Mercy. President Victor, congratulations and many blessings. Thank you.
A president of an institution of higher education, like a president of a free nation, cannot choose to lead without the consent of stakeholders. At Mercyhurst, those have always included alumni, students, and faculty. Those three groups were represented on the search committee that executed the task of finding a president who would lead the way through the special challenges facing private colleges in the 21st century. And so, it is fitting that today representatives from those three groups complete the task of that committee by offering a call to service to President Victor. The students, past and present, are the living embodiment of the university's ability to renew itself through the Mercy tradition. Mr. Frank B. Victor, representative from the Mercyhurst University Alumni Association and former member of the Board of Trustees, will call the President to service on behalf of the more than 18,000 living alumni. Mr. Victor will be followed by Ms. Shannon Hawley, the President of the Mercyhurst University Student Government, who will represent the more than 4,000 students making up the current student body. Of course, there would be no students at Mercyhurst without the dedication of the faculty. Beginning with the first group of sisters, led by Mother Borgia Egan, and including the sisters whose names are inscribed on the chain of office, as well as the scores of others who devoted their energies and intelligence to Mercyhurst and its students without expectation of fame or fortune, the faculty of Mercyhurst have always been a singularly committed group. Through the many challenges the university has faced in its 90 years, sacrifices had to be made. Whatever else had to be sacrificed by the faculty, however, it was never the quality of instruction and mentorship given to their students. I can say this from personal experience as an alumnus of Mercyhurst. So today, the call to service will be completed by Dr. Joanne McGurk, President of the Mercyhurst University Faculty Senate. I begin by calling Mr. Frank Victor to the podium.
President Victor, it is my special pleasure to affirm that the alumni welcome your leadership as 12th President of the University. Today, the alumni of Mercyhurst call on you to become the pragmatic leader of the continuing story of Mercyhurst University, Renewal Through Mercy. What began in Dublin, Ireland as education for women and later men in order to earn a living was transformed by the women of Mercyhurst College so that their living would make a difference in the world around us. As alumni, we are proud recipients of that vision through Mercy. We have not simply realized the benefit of higher education in general, but of a Mercyhurst education in particular. The vision has always been ecumenical and international, with roots firmly established outside the country. There was no possibility of Mercyhurst becoming parochial. Further, that vision has always included an obligation to serve the needs beyond achieving our own material success. Through our Mercyhurst education, we recognize that in the words of Scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. Will you answer the call to continue to strengthen that vision so that all graduates of Mercyhurst may be the beneficiaries? Then, as a reminder of this call, we present you with the Celtic Cross, a symbol of importance in the Mercyhurst tradition in our education. I call on Mercyhurst Student Government President Shannon Hawley.
President Victor, it is my privilege to affirm that the students of Mercyhurst welcome your leadership as 12th President of the University. We call on you to be a visionary leader, for we stand here as the embodiment of the University's efforts toward renewal through mercy. As students, we hope to emulate the example of Catherine Macaulay and the Sisters of Mercy. First, there is courage, the kind that cares to imagine what can be, coupled with a willingness to take the risks and answer the doubts in order to see the vision through. We know also that the sisters embody hospitality, the ability to make all sincerely welcome. Further, we can see how they have brought to all their endeavors a faith in the world. They have believed since their founding that by interacting with the world as it is, they and it may become an authentic expression of the mercy and blessings of God upon the whole earth. And so, President Victor, we summon you to take up the duties of your high office with respect to the student body of Mercyhurst University and lead us with and into courage, hospitality, and faith in our endeavors within these gates and beyond. Will you answer our call?
I will.
As a sign of your pledge, we present you with the Celtic tree, a symbol of the sustainability of the values of mercy. And I now call on the Faculty Senate President, Dr. Joanne McGurk.
President Victor, it is my honor to affirm that the faculty of Mercyhurst welcome your leadership as 12th President of the University. We call on you to be an essential leader, one who initiates the contours and orchestrates the endeavors of the entire university community as we renew through mercy. We have all heard the underlying message of the alumni and student body. The most effective, the most mercy-filled means of education is the mutual teaching and learning that occurs between persons sincerely engaged in understanding themselves, each other, and the world in which they live. And equally important, that they agree to abide by the consequences of such understanding. Only by such means can we achieve the goals of higher education, whether that be the general one of educating the next generation in order to maintain the health of our great republic, or the more particular one of the mercy tradition. There is no shortcut, there is no substitute for the authentic presence of teacher and student, no free and easy way to achieve these goals. If an institution so commits itself, then its leader assumes the responsibility of becoming the heart, the essence of the manner of realizing this goal. And so, President Victor, the faculty of Mercyhurst appeal to you to become the vital presence so necessary to orchestrate the efforts of the entire community as we strive to achieve renewal through mercy for the next 90 years. Will you answer our call? Then, as a sign of your pledge, we present you with the lamp of learning, a symbol of the guiding light of reasoned inquiry and practice in an atmosphere of intellectual freedom that has always been at the heart of a Mercyhurst education.
Michael T. Victor, will you rise and be invested as 12th President of Mercyhurst University? You have heard the summons to lead from the alumni, students, and faculty. Will you now promise to answer their calls?
I so promise.
By virtue of the authority of the Mercyhurst University Board of Trustees, I commit to your hands the mace, the symbol of your authority as president. As a further sign and seal of the responsibility you undertake this day, I ask the Faculty Senate President of Mercyhurst Erie, Dr. Joanne McGurk, and the representative of the Faculty Senate of Mercyhurst Northeast, Mr. Randall Rinke, to place the chain of office upon your shoulders. On you now lies the duty to lead this institution in the tradition of mercy and to face and surmount the challenges that await it. Members of Mercyhurst University and honored guests, I give you Michael T. Victor, 12th President of Mercyhurst University.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm deeply touched by that. Thank you. Well, good afternoon. Like so many of us at Mercyhurst University, something stirs deep inside of me whenever I pass through those historic gates and behold our magnificent campus. Really, what a vista. Today, to see all of you filling the breadth and depth of our iconic Performing Arts Center, well, let me just say, I feel humbled and indeed blessed. I would not be at the helm of this venerable institution were it not for the support of many people, starting with our trustees, whom I wish to thank for placing their trust in me, particularly our new chairman, Rich Lanzillo. To Bishop Lawrence Persico and Sister Joanne Crenine, who join us today, thank you for sharing with me your vision of Catholic higher education. To my fellow presidents and other distinguished delegates, thank you for illustrating the bond that connects all of us in higher education. To the leaders of our community who are here today, I am grateful for your support of the town and gown relationship that I look forward to strengthening in the years to come. At this time, I wish to extend a welcome to three of our state's most esteemed public servants, former Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett and his wife Sue, and former Pennsylvania First Lady Michelle Ridge. Thank you. And of course, to my colleagues here at Mercyhurst, the hundreds of faculty, staff, students, and alumni who've so graciously supported me since my appointment a year ago as the 12th president of Mercyhurst University. I thank you. I'd also like to take this occasion to acknowledge two of my immediate predecessors, Dr. Thomas Gamble and Dr. William Garvey. Lastly, but certainly not least, I want to recognize my family and friends who keep me grounded each and every day. And boy, they do. For their constant love and encouragement, I thank my wife, Craig, my daughters, Sloan Victor and Courtney Victor Russ, along with Courtney's husband, Colin Russ, and their two daughters, Reagan and Sawyer. I would also like to acknowledge and thank my sons Bowman and Wade Root, my brother, Frank Victor, and sisters, Carol Swanson, Peggy Howard, and Marcia Dunton. I am also honored to have my mother-in-law, Jane Carter Pepper, with us today from Atlanta. Thank you all. Not long ago, I stood in the third floor boardroom of the Center for Academic Engagement, and I looked upon the city and the lake and witnessed a rainbow arching across the northern sky. Now, there's something profoundly optimistic about experiencing that uncommon wonder of nature. As I stand here today, I'm feeling the same magic, that same uplifting sense, because I know we are making important gains in academic excellence, enrollment, and fundraising, and I'm feeling a renewed sense of collegiality among all of our ranks. I assume the stewardship of this institution at a time of uncertainty for all of our nation's colleges and universities, which was compounded by our own vulnerability. Of course, any university with the history and tradition of Mercyhurst will have known challenging times before. With 1925 etched into our cornerstone and the Sisters of Mercy in our corner, you can have some confidence in the resiliency of this community. Now, I've never shared this publicly before, but it was actually a Sister of Mercy who inspired me to apply for the Mercyhurst presidency. I have always had a special place in my heart for Mercyhurst, but to tell you the truth, I was really quite comfortable as president of Lake Erie College. I had been there 9 years, the college was flourishing, and I was perfectly content to remain there indefinitely. And then one day, I got an email from Sister Pat Whalen, in which she wrote of serious challenges facing, quote, our beloved Mercyhurst. She said those challenges had created a time of great pain and sadness in the life of the university. I hope I don't embarrass Sister, but I couldn't shake her words or the emotion I felt between those lines. That email haunted me. I told Sister I would pray for Mercyhurst, and it was through that prayer that I ultimately came to the decision to submit my application to the Presidential Search Committee. And well, here I am. So, those Sisters of Mercy, they're a tough bunch to say no to. So thank you, Sister Pat. I started my tenure a year ago as president with a clear understanding that we are in need of renewal. Like so much of private higher education, particularly schools like ours that are rich in the liberal arts, we face the challenge of being true to ourselves while navigating our way through a tumultuous sea of changing demands and expectations. Throughout our history, we've developed a time-honored and distinctive identity for Mercyhurst University. We express it through these words. Consistent with our Catholic identity and Mercy heritage, we educate women and men in a culture where faith and reason flourish together, where the beauty and power of the liberal arts combine with an appreciation for the dignity of work and a commitment to serving others. This identity is present in the customs and traditions that have come to illustrate our most revered values, through the curricula that channel our intellectual priorities, and through the campus life and extracurricular activities that complement the learning experience. You see, we have good roots. This past year, we chose to revisit those roots within the framework of today's challenges. Through that effort, which we addressed community-wide with transparency and mercy, we have renewed our vision of a Mercyhurst education and what it means to deliver it in ways that are sustainable, innovative, and meaningful. One thing I've stressed as part of my presidency is that higher education leaders can no longer rely on their gut or intuition. The days of informal structures and casual leadership are gone. Ours must be thoughtful,
strategic business models rooted in research-based problem-solving, analysis, and best practice. In following that standard this past year, we reaped enormous benefits. We enrolled the largest freshman class in our history, welcoming 728 new undergraduates and besting a record of 717 freshmen in 2004. We achieved a fundraising milestone, bringing in $6.5 million, the largest amount ever in a given year. We streamlined our academic and administrative functions to achieve far greater efficiency. We took a good hard look at our liberal arts curriculum and restructured it to be more student-friendly. We revamped our academic calendar to accommodate the needs of a broad cross-section of learners, particularly non-traditional students who craved more flexibility. We struck a chord for tradition by renewing an old custom, the hourly ringing of our carillon, and we started a new one, the annual Hurst Day celebration. As heartening as it is for me to stand before you today and report on the robust state of our university and to compliment all the many people whose efforts have proven so fruitful this past year, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we still have challenges ahead, and we probably always will. No longer can we put the brakes on change. We're part of a revolution in higher education that is rapidly accelerating. Serious questions abound, and there are absolutely no easy answers. For example, people ask, what is the value of liberal arts in today's higher education climate? How can we ensure access and affordability? Can we adapt to new technologies? Where will online learning fit into our culture? Then, there's the shocker that most of us in this room would never have expected to see in our lifetime. The question that some say and answer, why go to college at all? These questions are integral to our value proposition and to our future, and we are duty-bound to seek the answers. You've read the stories. Private schools have closed, merged, or altered their mission entirely in pursuit of survival. We may have to reinvent ourselves, but I promise you, as long as I am president, we will never trade our traditions on trends. Why? We have good roots. The Sisters of Mercy were visionaries and pioneers. They mobilized teams to glorify God among the unreached peoples. In higher education, they believed that everyone who desired an education should have one. That's why they started Mercyhurst College on a hill overlooking the lake 90 years ago. And that's why 25 years ago, we started Mercyhurst Northeast, our certificate and associate degree college. And that's why, in more recent years, we established a satellite center in Erie City, Erie, to take higher education directly into the people's neighborhoods. We even circled back to Ireland, the home of our founders, and have a branch campus there as well. We admire the sisters' vision. We embrace their spirit, and we honor their mission. Today, I would like to consider how that mission squares with some of the concerns we hear about the value and purpose of private higher education in America, particularly of the liberal arts variety. While Mercyhurst is not a liberal arts college per se, I believe some of our greatest strengths are derived from the liberal arts core curriculum that supports our professional programs. That and our emphasis on experiential learning. And yet, in the ongoing debate about the role of higher education in today's digital economy, some critics question the value of a liberal arts education, especially when compared to the skills learned through the STEM disciplines of science, technology, engineering, and math. From my personal standpoint, it appears that a sense of balance is what's lacking in this debate. Manhattanville College Provost Lisa Doling put it well when she said, and I quote, "Among the many false dichotomies fostered by the continuing debate surrounding higher education, one that I find especially disconcerting is that which pits the professional against the personal. While it is expressed in a variety of ways, it really boils down to this. Either you believe the purpose of going to college is to be able to secure a job, or you think there's something more intrinsically valuable to be gained from the years spent earning a degree. My question is, when did these become mutually exclusive? Well, at Mercyhurst, they are not. We take a balanced approach, and we believe that the best education should include soft as well as hard competencies. Time after time, employers tell us that the best employees are those who can move beyond the skills of their trade or profession to a higher plane where wisdom and perspective and the ability to draw well-informed judgments are prized. Now, certainly, we want all of our graduates to become gainfully employed in short order. But if our students are to be prepared to lead meaningful lives in the 21st century, I believe they must leave Mercyhurst with something more nuanced than the skills imparted through a particular major. Their capacity to provoke change will depend upon their ability to think creatively and analytically, to consider problems from diverse perspectives, to understand how to traverse increasingly global and technological world. And that is our challenge, to enlighten beyond the syllabus, to instill the underlying foundation of truth, intellectual curiosity, and creative thought. In this way, we do not educate students to accept the world as it is, but to change the world as it could be. After all, even greater than the issues confronting higher education are those facing our world. Our challenges are complex, and the stakes are very high. Where will the answers come from? From standardized, career-ready graduates? I think not. We need to do better. We need to dig deeper. Although we have remained steadfast in our mission these past 90 years, the way we execute that mission must evolve with the times we live in. We've certainly started down that road through the many changes we made in the past year. Going forward, we will continue to establish niche fields of study and anchor them with a strong liberal arts curriculum. We will investigate new technologies for delivering that education. We will build new, local, regional, and international collaborations that create the very best learning experiences for our students and generate opportunities for enlightenment and service to the greater good. Further, we must ensure that in these times of escalating college costs, we find ways to draw our members from the widest range of socioeconomic groups and keep Mercyhurst accessible to talented students everywhere. That is consistent with the higher purpose of our founders, and the sisters would expect no less. Why? Because we have good roots. One of the enduring benefits of a liberal education is that it broadens us. Let me remind you that we are in the business of educating students not merely to make a living, but to make a life. Perhaps no one says it quite so well as Fareed Zakaria, author of the book In Defense of a Liberal Education. Let me share with you one of my favorite passages. When we absorb great literature, we come face to face with ideas, experiences, and emotions that we might never otherwise encounter in our lifetime. When we read history, we encounter people from a different age and learn from their triumphs and travails. When we listen to great music, we're moved in ways that reason cannot comprehend. A liberal education gives us a greater capacity to be good workers, but it also gives us the capacity to be good partners, friends, parents, and citizens. I maintain an unwavering confidence in the purpose and potential of this university and its role in shaping human lives, and, in turn, the future of our world. As we gather here at the intersection of our past and our future, of our mission and our vision, of lessons learned and challenges anticipated, let us appreciate this extraordinary moment and go forward with a spirit of renewal through mercy the next 90 years. Thank you, and carpe diem.
You may be seated. Thank you, President Victor, for the vision and inspiration you offer to all of us. Mercyhurst University looks forward to the future with hope as you begin a new chapter in our proud heritage. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. May God bless you, and may God bless our beloved Mercyhurst. At this time, I would like to invite the Most Reverend Lawrence T. Persico, Bishop of the Diocese of Erie, to come forward and offer the benediction. Bishop Persico.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we ask your blessing upon President Victor, on this university, and those who teach, study, and work here. May a spirit of wisdom guide those in leadership and governance. May a spirit of hospitality and unity grace all who spend time within these walls. May a spirit of mercy fill the hearts of all who become part of this community. And may all graduates and members of the extended Mercyhurst University family be always mindful that they are a real sign of Christ's presence in the world. And may the Lord bless you all, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our installation of Mercyhurst University's 12th president. Please stay in your seats until the academic processors have exited the auditorium. Thank you.